So the camera quality is still okay, but I can like barely see the words, especially once this light turns off over here. So wearing this puppy. Oh! Okay guys, before like okay guys. Anyway, before we get into this, hop on your phone, tell your friends about this channel. You subscribe, they subscribe, like the video. We're creating a family here, guys. At at 100 subscribers, I will be taking recommendations. Like, you can be like, I want to have this book read, and I'll get to it. So, subscribe, tell people, get us to 100 so that you can recommend books to me. And my other channels will be linked down below, along with my sisters and some social media. So, hop on there and follow and subscribe. So let's just get right into it. This is The Last Chance Books by Kelsey Rodkey, and we're on chapter 7, which starts on page 75, which I'm really hoping that Jasper will be in here, because guys, I'm sorry, but it's just getting to that point where it's like you just wanting to read it to get to him, because I'm like that. So hopefully we get to that. It might be some backstory. Let's just get right into it. Chapter 7, page 75. I spent the rest of the day at Zelda's reading her copy of Hold for Applause with goosebumps because her central air is set to 66 degrees year-round on account of her mother going through menopause. The things I suffer through just to avoid time with Dahlia, who is undeniably invited to the Sterling Benny Astrid Madeline family dinner. Benny sent several confusing texts that hinted at Dahlia, suggesting we meet at a winery. Leave it to Dahlia to have a family dinner night where she can get sloshed. I bookmark my spot, not many pages since my last bookmark insertion. Thanks to air conditioning that Jasper makes me mad, even though Thanks to air conditioning and Jasper making me mad even when he's not here, I checked his Instagram again and it's still annoyingly private. I have been looking for a good photo of him to print out so I could take up dart throwing. You go, girl. Just take a picture of him when he's across the street putting out signs, you know? You gotta learn how to stop guys, okay? Okay. If Astrid gets to invite Dahlia to our family dinner tonight, then I'm taking Zelda. I launch a pillow at her head, but instead it hits the frame bat mitzvah photo of us on her desk. Her framed bat mitzvah photo of her on her desk. Wait, I didn't realize that it was spelled B-A-T. Okay, the framed mitzvah photo of us on her desk. She stiffens in her computer chair and slowly spins to face me, a video mid-edit on the screen behind her. How dare you disrespect the day I became a woman? She says it as if she enjoyed the day in question. She spent it crying because she got her first period and had a shiny brace face in all the photos people posted online. On the other hand, Levi, who held his bar mitzvah at the same time, said it was great. Do you want to go to the winery with me and my dysfunctional family? If I have to. You do. You can ask Dahlia about movie stuff for all I care. In fact, yes, do that. I don't have to talk to her then. What do I get out of this? She asked, standing and adjusting her cheap plastic bracelets from her elbow to wrist. A free meal? Information about the field you want to go into? More time with my lovely face? Oh, well, if your face is included, count me in. The drive over is just the right amount of time to play an entire album, but short enough that I don't have to repeat any songs and get them stuck in my head. No matter how badly Zelda wants to listen to track 4 more than once. My family group chat lets me know Sterling has been here for at least 10 minutes. Ever the punctual guy. So we meet him around the back of the winery where people chat in lawn chairs, playing games, sip drinks, and eat from the food trucks. String lights hang over the wooden tables and wrap around the tree branches, giving an otherworldly glow of the place, even with the last hours of sunlight in full force. We claim a nice stretch of table and preoccupy ourselves with guess their baggage, the game Sterling invented when Benny and I were younger to distract us during long wait times at restaurants. Zelda is exceptionally good at it. The lady in the green top, oh, the lady in the green top, glassy eyes, and fanny pack. Sterling is careful to go unnoticed when he points out the woman behind us. She searches the lost and found pet Facebook pages every day in hopes of finding a cat she lost 7 years ago. Zelda says, suddenly in a low voice. I blink. I don't remember this game being so sad. Sterling shrugs, a smile on his face. You're old enough to handle the world's harsh realities now. What's yours? She gets all of her drinks virgin and then pretends to be drunk to feel alive. He nods with thoughtful eyes. I have to go with Zelda's. Rude. He can't pick yours, she says. That's practically nepotism. And it wasn't even that good, so get over yourself. I search the crowd to find our target because the loser always goes next. Cowboy boots in the line for the bathroom. The one with the crop top, Zelda asked, leaning across the table to get a closer look. He for sure had someone in his life who vehemently hated the color puce, so now he wears a little bit of it each day to spite them. Sterling points at Zelda. I had a similar guess, actually, but with the boots. They both look at me. I mean, it's not like you didn't even try. They both look to me. I mean, it's like you didn't even try, Sterling. Scoffing, Sterling goes next and picks Dahlia, who has chosen the moment to make slow progress with Astrid and Benny toward us. How can I describe her? I ask. Desperate for attention, cares about no one but herself. Okay, enough, Sterling says quickly. His mouth turns into a forced smile as he looks over his shoulder. Hi, guys. Hi, guys, I guess. The false cheer in his voice reminds me of the awkwardness Sunday night when he and Benny showed up for dinner. Sterling had assumed he'd be cooking. I think he wanted the time to himself to acclimate to being around Dahlia without having to interact with her. But she had already pulled the spaghetti off the burner by then. The dinner was tense and quiet, and I found myself gripping Sterling's hand under the table in a show of support. Benny slides into the seat across from me, next to Sterling. When I stand to join him, to quietly tell him I didn't apply to buns, Esther puts her hand on my shoulder, forcing me down. Dolly sits on my empty side, the two Moore sisters caging me in. If Benny lied about keeping it a secret and told Astrid, she's going to tell me something wise and mature. Sure, to bug me, like what Jasper said. Banning ship before it sinks, but I threw that crumpled treacherous piece of paper into the first recycling bin I could find, and, therefore, I don't want to hear it. I am not leaving B&M, and no one can make me. How about the kids and Dolly stay here to save our spot while Sterling and I go grab food? Astor gives Sterling a pointed look, and he half raises from the bench. I'll go too, Benny says, standing up. You can't carry food for 6, let alone remember the orders. You're right. Text the order to the group chat and Zelda will help us carry the food, Astor says, indicating that it's not really a question. Zelda nods, getting to her feet. Look, Madeline, there's a whole truck dedicated to cheese, Astrid says, nodding at a huge sign that reads, Guarantees you'll like our cheese. I try not to roll my eyes and text grilled macaroni and cheese sandwich to the group chat. What? Grilled macaroni and cheese sandwich to the group chat that now, unfortunately, includes Dahlia in it. It says Astrid added her a few minutes ago. Sterling, Astrid, and Zelda leave, taking all conversation with them. I can only assume that since Astrid didn't immediately give me the I'm proud you're making a good decision face, Benny didn't mention the application, but it won't hurt to tell him I didn't actually apply. If this is the case, he, ignoring Jasper, is the only one who thinks I thought about leaving the store. I text this to him and try to get his attention, not so discreetly, nodding to my phone. How are your days? Dahlia asked, leaning on the table with both elbows. How did you do all day, Maddie? Madeline. Benny and I say at the same time, so the word comes out louder than intended. Dahlia blinks. Madeline. Sorry, you're right. It's a pretty name, after all. It's probably the only thing she likes about me, because it's the only thing she 100% had to say when I was born. Her loss. She smiles at Benny, a teasing tone escaping her mouth when she says, "And Benjamin is a nice name, too. But he doesn't seem to like it." No, he prefers Benny, and has since he was born. He'd known this if she'd stuck around, just like she'd known I grew out of Maddie when I was 12, and she left me waiting for a ride home from my middle school book club 2 days in a row when she came for a visit. The second day was because she had just left, gone back to California. There were only so many times I could hear, "I'm sorry, Maddie," through the phone before the words and the name grated my ears. I was so pissed off that Zelda gave me the nickname Mads. Benny finally picks up his phone, but I don't see the 3 dots on my screen indicating all the typing he's doing is to me. He stands. They need help. Convenient. Dolly doesn't even get a word out before he disappears in the crowd, nearly upsetting a man with 3 drinks held precariously in his hands. When I wouldn't give to have one of them, awkward silence sits between Dolly and me with an extra person. Me like an extra person. "You still like reading?" she asked, tapping a fingernail on the table. It's not typically something people stop enjoying. True. She blows a piece of brown hair from her eyes. "Have you guys been here before? I thought it would be cool because we could all get whatever food we want." The reviews were really positive. "It'd be cooler if I could get a wine slushie. The other time I was here, I had to drive Astrid home because she had 3 of those things and couldn't walk straight. She claims it because she never drinks, but I think the slushies are just strong." Dolly fights a smile. "Yeah, that would be cooler. Without Astrid here to pull the mom card, I could probably get Dolly to appease me to get a drink and hope she'll think she's fun." "You could get us some." A 20-something girl walks behind me with a maroon slushie and a reusable tumbler. I nod in her direction. Oh. Oh. "You could get us some." A 20-something girl walks behind me with a maroon slushie and a reusable tumbler. I nod in her direction. I'd want the maroon one. Dolly spots the drink in question and glances at me. "You're not old enough." "I'm barely 3 years shy." You drove here." "You drove here." "You could drive me home. We're going to the same place." A drive with her would be more bearable if I were drunk anyway." "Come on," I lay the sweetness on thick. "Astrid would never do it. But she's so boring." She grins. "I'll be right back." And right back she comes, sliding her wristband off her thin wrist and onto my slightly bigger one. She places the frozen drink in front of us and winks. It's non-alcoholic. I think she's serious at first, but as soon as the drink hits my tongue, I know that was her way of saying she wants to keep this between her and me, and I have no problem with that. I raise my glass to the bottle of water she brought. Oh, cheers. My cheeks are hot, my stomach feels similar, but by the time the other comes back with our food cradled in their hands. Oh, my cheeks are hot, my stomach feeling similar, but by the time the others come back with the food cradle in their hands. Zelda and Sterling take seats on opposite sides of Benny, and Astrid sits next to me, sliding my wrap sandwich in my direction. Right now, it's the most perfect meal I could ask for. I want to marry the sandwich. The sandwich would never try to kill my bookstore. Astrid eyes me, then the drink I can't seem to let go of. It's nearly the dregs already. "Where'd you get that?" "Relax," Dolly says, leaning around me. "It's non-alcoholic." "It's definitely not. Look at her. She's swaying back and forth." You're being dramatic, I say in my most somber voice. I lip my drink. It's a smoothie. Astrid's face tightens. She latches onto my arm to show everyone my wristband. Dolly rolls her eyes. She's fine. The drink is barely hitting her, and I'm driving her home. She places a hand on my shoulder. "Let the kid have some fun." I face Astrid. Yeah, let me have some fun. Dahlia knows all about having fun. I'm her mother, Dahlia adds in a serious tone. You're doing a great job, Astrid says coldly. She and Sterling exchange a glance, like they're going to have a long phone call about Dahlia later, but stay quiet for now. So, Dahlia, Zelda says, suddenly cutting the tension, I saw you in that music video for that band. Dahlia instantly relaxes, melting toward the table, all casual. Oh, thanks, she says, as if Zelda complimented her just by having seen some of her work. I'm looking to go into film, actually, Zelda continues. Behind the camera, not in front of it. Know anyone I could maybe intern with next summer? I could ask around for you. Dahlia squeals a little. It would be so fun to show you and Madeline around California. We can make it a girls' trip. There's this place in... Yeah, so fun, I say sarcastically, knowing she'll be living there again by that time. Except I'll be at the bookstore next summer. Boring, Dolly says. Why don't you want to do something fun? You're so young and have all of these responsibilities, and you want to work in the boring, dusty bookstore. It's not boring to me, which reminds me. Benny, I say, a few bites into my sandwich. Some cheese might be stuck to my cheek. Will you go to the porta potty with me? No. Zelda raises her eyebrow at me, probably wondering why I'm asking my brother to go instead of her. She hates porta potties on principle, though, and there's also the matter of her not knowing I considered bailing on B&M, and that's why I need to talk to Benny. Interesting thing, she says, her eyes narrowed. I have a fear that the door won't lock and I need someone to stand guard. You're not very intimidating with your space buns and whatever attitude. Dahlia smiles when I hear her shoulder. Dahlia smiles when I use her shoulder to push myself up. Benny grabs onto my elbow and directs me toward the bathrooms, but I don't actually have to go. And I only kind of need his assistance. At some point recently, the world got all swirly around me. Let me have some of that, he says, nodding to what's left of my drink. I hadn't even realized I had it with me. Sorry, you'd have to be at least 21 years of age to consume the smoothie in the United States. He raises an impatient eyebrow, yanking me in time so that I don't run into an unattended child playing in the dirt. You're 17. I lift my wrist. No, wrong one. I lift the other. Not according to this wristband. Let me have the rest, and I won't tell Astrid about the application. You already said you wouldn't. He smirks. The situation has changed. Brat. I hand him the drink. I got rid of the application. You know I'd never do that to the store. When he finishes it, he grins. And you know I wouldn't have told her. I smirk. You drank my backwash. There's nothing wrong with applying somewhere else. Astrid wouldn't care. He loves listening to the steady graze. But you really won't leave it, huh? There's a lot wrong with applying somewhere else. I shouldn't be convincing him to rat on me. Not that there's anything to rat on me about. But the fact that he's trying to ease my guilt this way is unsettling. Like when Astrid basically gave the staff a big shrug after saying the store might be closing. Is he giving up too? I don't agree. Just because your first words were book some more doesn't mean that they have to be your last words. Then he excuses himself to use the bathroom and I go up to the counter to order another drink. He should have played his cards right and asked for a brand new one instead of my leftovers. But I wasn't about to tell him that, especially when he had been playing psychology welfare with my emotions. It's wild how they just hand the drink right over because of a little bit of lime green paper wrapped around my arm. It's about 5 minutes of standing outside the porta potties and no sign of Benny that I wonder if he's caught with my drink and was thrown out. Is that how it works? Can you get thrown out of a place that's outside? Setting my drink down beside my foot, I free my phone to text him. Another child joins the unattended child from earlier, and they run around upsetting my slushie. My phone slips from the grasp and lands on the dirt. I write the drink, pick up my phone, and text, "Where are you?" I get an answer before I can even lock my phone. Jasper Hamada. Today, 6:58 p.m. At my house? I stare hard at the name on the text, confused for a second before it clicks, causing my face to grow hotter. Wrong number. That makes more sense. I'm not ready to go back to my family and face the consequences of my actions. I've never been a huge drinker. Not a lot of stuff I can get my hands on tastes all that great, and I prefer to be the designated driver so that I know everyone will get where they need to be safely. But I have a ton of options for drivers tonight, and I'm not drinking because I'm stressed. I just happen to be stressed and conveniently drunk. So, it's fine. This isn't coping. This isn't excessive. I will accept my lecture with a hazy head and then sleep it off. Another sandwich sounds good, or a taco, or a cupcake. I pretty much want everything from a food truck I pass, and I'm sure should get a thank you food for Zelda for accompanying me and distracting my mess of a mom. The options are endless, and maybe Dahlia had a great idea by coming here. Not that I tell her. Where are you? Spring Great Winery. The dots disappear. The dots disappear, appear again. Are you drunk? Tipsy. Do you need a ride? Got one. Boyfriend? Huh, that's an interesting question. And it strikes me as more interesting than I and it strikes me as more interesting that I debate lying to him. My mom, delete. Yep, delete. I have a ride. You said, am I supposed to keep guessing? Oh. The food trucks hum with the sound of generators or motors or whatever it is that they use to power their grills and stoves and magic food cooking oils. I'm a truck away from double fisting grilled mac and cheese sandwiches when a book catches my eye. It's perched on the counter window with the pops out when the food trucks are open for business. It's called Finding My Identity with Food. It's some delicious looking wrap on the cover. I approach the truck and find a lady, hairnet and all, cooking up some kind of fusion food for 2 people online. The graffiti words on the truck read, "On the menu." I watch the woman work, sipping my drink and letting the phone vibrate in my hand. There's a music to her movement, an art to the expression her face holds as she preps, flips, and spices the food. The menu says she serves Korean, Mexican-inspired dishes. How much for the book? I ask her through the window, and she hands 2 meals to the people. She raises a dark eyebrow at me. Excuse me? The book, I nod at. How much are you selling it for? She glances at the book like she forgot us there. How much would you buy it for? $15. It's yours. I pull my leftover cash from my pocket and hand it to her. She drops the book in my hands and hesitates. I'll give you my favorite dish in the book. She gets to work and I go back to my phone, thinking about how all books should come with food. I check Yelp to see if any reviews mention this truck's food. I should have done that before buying the book, probably, but I have a feeling I won't be disappointed. When I open my app, Prologue pops up as my last search. It sours my mood instantly and reminds me that Jasper texted me again. I start reading The Magnificent Lies of Lasers. I call BS. If you started, you would not be able to look away. On page 78. Tell me a line from that page. Wait, no, you could just flip open that page. Tell me the name of the inventor. There's a pause, just a brief one, then the 3 dots indicating his typing appear. Crafter. You could have Googled that and asked me another question, fandom gatekeeper. Here you go. Here you go, the lady says, pulling me away from my phone and handing over a paper dish with a smile. Her signature, new nachos. According to the menu, hit the spot just as well as my sandwich did earlier. The homemade tortilla chips are warm and pork strips are chopped into small enough pieces that I can scoop them up with the kimchi and cheese. I devour the dish in a few bites while sitting on the ground and flipping through the book. I finish my drink as my phone vibrates. You've got nothing, huh? I'm busy, and you're the enemy. I'm not tipsy enough to forget that. What's his plan here? To get me to drop my guard more, weasel his way in my head and heart by loving series I love? He's not special. Everyone who reads those books loves them. Just don't go on the Goodreads to fact check me. I go to force quit my message app and all my renting apps pop up. Yelp practically screams for my attention. I open it again, taking in the 5-star reviews on Prologue and decide to leave my own. Prologue not only has really rude workers, but they put books out early. They sell their used books at the same price as new books. Prologue's air condition blows too roughly when you walk in. The ceilings are too high and the carpet slippery. 1 star because I can't give it 0. The entire family group chat wants to know where I am, plus Zelda asks if my junk but got lost. I ignore them and tuck the cookbook under my arm, an idea inspired by my second maroon colored. I don't even know what flavor. Slushy and bangin' chocos brewing in my head. A book event, but with food. Because people like food, right? And because nothing goes better with a book than free fruit, or vice versa. I knock my knuckle against the food truck counter to get the woman's attention. What inspired you to mix Mexican with Korean food? It's really good. Thanks. She leans out the window. My mom is Mexican and my dad is Korean. They both made such great food when I was a kid, but it was always a Mexican dish or a Korean dish, and it seemed a shame not to mix them. My food's a way for them to share my identity. Food's a way for me to share my identity with people. I hold up the book. Yeah, do you want to bring your truck to my bookstore and sell food and books? Didn't quite nail the proposal there, but my head's a little foggy. I'm Madeline Moore, and I work at Books & More. She gives me a strange look, her tan cheeks pinking. Sure, I'm Melissa. Cool. I'm 2 steps away before I swing back. I should probably get your number. She nods, a grin fighting its way onto her face. And maybe some water? Alright, that is the end of chapter 7. Thank you guys for listening. So, thank you. And I will see you guys next time. Remember to subscribe, tell people like the video, and see you guys for the next chapter or next book, whatever you're listening to. So, ciao for now.